Morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Hennasey, and that's me. Just Hennasey.
Just Hennasey?
Yeah. No, I'm a Wells, and I feel really intimidating because you've interviewed my mother on here, my father-in-law, and my grandfather-in-law.
Oh, of course we
So
have.
no pressure.
Yeah.
And that interviewing you.
Yeah. Ta-da!
I don't know that we interviewed, did we? Did we just chat?
We just chat. Yeah,
Just
we
chat.
don't really. We just
That's
sort of
fine.
have a chat and
Yeah,
just
it's a
talk
chat.
I haven't
about
been in an interview in a very long time.
maybe
So, what do you do? What's your life? Why did you want to come on the podcast?
Well, I wanted to come on the podcast because you have interviewed, talked, chat with my mum and everybody.
Yeah.
And I know you guys personally, so it's, for me, more welcoming.
Mhm.
I'm not sat there in front of complete, total strangers. If I do something abnormal, then it's...
We're laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I don't know, I thought it might be a good idea, really. And something to do, but yeah, when I'm not working part-time, I'm a mum. When I'm not doing that, I'm an actress in amateur dramatics, and then at some point maybe go back to play rugby on the field, if I'm fit enough.
When was the last time you played rugby?
3 years ago, before I got married.
Who did you play for?
So I originally started at Cheddar.
Yeah.
Then I went to Wells.
Yeah.
And now if I do play, hopefully Cheddar will have me back.
Oh, Cheddar will have anybody back. I love it. I used to be chairman of the rugby club.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm the only woman on that board.
That's
under
amazing.
the chairman's name. I did it. I can't remember how many years. I think it was about 5-6 years I was chairman. Because basically the club was going to fall apart.
Yeah.
And myself and a couple of others took it to kind of, well, myself and Dave really, that said, come on, let's rescue this. So we did.
Yeah.
So that's my claim to fame at Cheddar Rugby
That's
Club.
amazing. That's amazing.
So,
Yeah.
oh, brilliant. So what position did you play?
I was a prop, number
Right.
one.
And do you, like, because obviously all the Six Nations is on at the moment, so do you actually enjoy watching rugby as well?
No. I will watch it if it's on, and I will admit, if it's on and we're winning, and it's a team that I support, I will shout at the TV and get a bit irate.
Like rugby?
I prefer, and I know I'm a woman, but I prefer watching the women to the men. I don't like the camaraderie of the boisterousness of boys and fighting and thinking they're better. I like the game. I like watching the techniques, the communication, the skill between the teams. And that's what I prefer, watching a game where you are a team and you play to your strengths. And if someone is weak, then you pick them up and you bring them up. With the men, sometimes I feel it's quite boisterous and it's a man's game, so I have to present myself as a man and be all rough and tumble. But I think it's a beautiful game. And if it's played right and you do the techniques and the tackling right, it's quite a lot of fun. When you get hurt, it isn't. But I got something out of it, which other people might not. I felt really confident. I felt comfortable. It was actually the first thing sport-wise I've actually done that I was actually quite good at.
Yeah.
Which makes a change, really, because I'm not really a sporty person. But
I can't imagine you playing rugby.
Can you not?
I'm trying to visualise this with you with like a scrum hat on and wow, but I just...
yeah, it's down and dirty in the mud.
Oh,
I just really enjoyed it. And I think when you do it as well, when you come off the pitch, everybody is congratulating you. Oh, you've played really well, or you're mental on the pitch. Like, it's always positive. If there is some sort of tension, it's always on the pitch. It's never afterwards.
But that's the same for men's rugby.
I hope so.
Yeah, well, I suppose my experience in men's rugby is being down there for years and years and years and years when Dave played rugby every week.
Yeah.
And it was always, you could always, there was a bit of a kerfuffle on the pitch and, you know, this person wasn't very kind to another person or whatever the circumstances were, the tension was there.
Yeah.
But as soon as they came off the pitch, I'd still be grumpy with the bloke that swung at somebody but they'd be in the bar having a beer together.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was that
that's
whole
good.
concept of,
It's just on the
it
pitch.
stays on the pitch. What happens on the pitch stays on the
I
pitch.
think something takes over you. I don't know what it is, like adrenaline and that kind of thing, where you're in a different mindset, really. It's a game and you want to win and your aim is to get from A to B. That's what I think it is. But I really enjoyed it, and I hope when I get fitter that I can go back and as a one-off maybe.
So when's your goal? Why one-off? What's your goal? Is your goal to start next season?
No, it would be nice to just kind of do it again and just to feel part of something again, because I don't know if you ever found it when you became a mum, you kind of lose who you are for a bit, and you kind of cling on to what some of the things that you did before having children. And that was one of the things. And because I didn't do it for such a long time, because I stopped playing because I was getting married. The game was the day after I got married that I was aiming for. Well, I didn't think it was a wise idea. And the Sunday before getting married, didn't think it was a wise idea either. Because it'd been it's been nearly 3 years. It's quite a time. It's trying to get back mentally and physically to where you would be able to withstand some sort of running on a pitch.
Some resilience.
Yeah.
But it is that, I mean, I don't know about you, but when you set a goal, for me, if I set a goal, I have to set, so I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it by this time.
Yeah.
Are you the same?
Yeah, I am the same. But also, I think, if you want to do something, just go and do it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, by saying that, you want to get fitter, well, just go and do it.
What stops you?
Exactly, yeah. What stops you? Because by get fitter, I presume you mean go and do more exercise. Well, that is exercise. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought a bit like that.
So when do they train? What day of the week do they train?
I'm not sure. I think they train a Monday and a Wednesday. Wednesdays for me are a bit dodgy because I do other things on a Wednesday. So it might just be the Monday that I do. But I definitely am going to have to reach out to them and see if I
can. Do you know what? Cheddar Rugby Club is the same rugby club that I've always known and loved. You can just turn up. And they don't care. They're just grateful that people come down and they want you to be part of that community. Yeah. I don't think there's no formality in that sense. Obviously, once you decide it, then you have to pay a membership and stuff like that. But I mean, I do one of these things where you raise money for it every month. You put something in a pot. I don't know. They take money out of my account every month. But I think it's so important. I mean, Cheddar Rugby Club's been an integral part. It's like the football club. Yeah. Been an integral part of the community for a long, long, long time. Dave was playing down there when he was 15, and he's
95 now.
Only few, so they have.
Yeah.
And they are very accepting of people, which is lovely.
They are. It doesn't matter your ability, I don't think, size, shape, or what. No, you're part of it, really.
Absolutely. Can you commit to a goal?
Yeah.
Go on then, give us a date. For training. Turn up on a Monday.
Next month.
So what month?
Well, it's the 1st of March on Saturday, so next Monday.
Jesus, this year's gone too fast.
Yeah.
So
Monday.
you're going to be playing rugby next Monday.
Actually, the season's coming to an end, so soon.
Go back.
No. To go back Monday.
Yeah.
Right. So we need an update, please, on Monday.
I'll take a photo.
Yeah. Send it to us.
Send it to us. I'll put it on Instagram.
Yeah, no.
But yeah.
So
how does it feel being a mum and all that change? Because it's quite significant. I know people think having a baby is a wonderful thing, and it is.
It's the most amazing thing in the whole entire world, but it does change a fair bit about you.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's been the making of me. I know it sounds really cliche and all that jazz. I think that is the one thing I was kind of destined to do, really, is to be a mum. And I've got the most incredible little girl in the world, and she just makes it a breeze. But it's hard work. It's hard work. It tests you. The lack of sleep tests you. But I've been very fortunate because she has slept through the night from, I think, about 6 months. She's been an absolute angel.
Like that.
We obviously went to your party on the Sunday, like a week after she was born, and she slept through it like music. She's been a breeze compared to other people's children, but it doesn't come with like the other stuff, as in like lack of sleep. You do get the lack of sleep. You do get the hard times where they do hurt themselves or they're upset and they can't tell you. You do go into a bit of an overdrive sometimes. You go through, I do a checklist in my head when things are up to see what it could be. The weaning stage, her eating, has been the hardest challenge in the world because most of it ends up on the floor. And that tests you as well, because obviously I've been brought up, if it's on your plate, you eat it. If you've not finished your meal, you don't get pudding. And I've got that in my head, but I can't see her go hungry. So I'm kind of like, would you like this? Would you like this? To try and like get her to eat. All else fails, milk. She loves milk. So if she's not eating, just give her a bottle of milk. But it has tested me a lot. It's wonderful, But it is hard. It's emotional as well.
But parenting is that thing about checking your values, isn't it? It
Yeah.
really establishes your values rather
Mhm.
than taking on your family values, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You start to work out what's right for you,
Mhm.
not what's right for the bigger picture, you know, mum,
Yeah.
dad, grandma, grandpa.
I've been given such wonderful advice from people about how to bring up her parenting, whether to tell off, oh, I've done this, oh, I wouldn't have done that. And I've taken everything on board, but she's, well, not just mine, she's Joe's as well, but she's our daughter. We bring her up how we want to.
Yeah.
And if I want to stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning giving her cuddles, I will. I'm open to suggestions, but I know her more than anybody else. So
Well, she's your child.
she is, but because I go back to work part-time, my mum has her on a Monday, and then on a Tuesday she's at nursery, and on Wednesday it's a rota between my mother-in-law and my mum. So she has the best of both worlds. She's very social. She loves people. They obviously look after her differently to how I would on a Thursday, Friday. And on a Thursday, Friday, I rather sit on the floor and play with her than do housework. I rather dance and sing and be silly. I don't take life too seriously when I'm with her. And if we want to chill and do nothing, then we'll chill and do nothing. We're learning words at the moment. We're reading. We're singing some cheesy tunes, mainly ABBA. But I'm enjoying this process. But I find now, when she's 18 months, a lot harder than she was when she was a baby. When she was small, I can cope with the lack of sleep, getting up every 2 hours and feeding and changing and go back to sleep. The minute she started walking or standing up on her own, that's when the fun starts. You have to have eyes in the back of your head, your front, your arms, the legs. And it's an adventure. And you get to see her grow or them grow into this amazing little person. And that's so tricky. And it's mentally draining sometimes.
But there's no preparation for parenting, is there? People think there is, and you think, like you say, you get the advice, you get all of this, but fundamentally, becoming a parent is so different to what you think it's going to be. And trust me, you know, it doesn't get any easier. You know, I'm still a parent, and I'm in my 60s, and it's like, wow, this is tough. Even today, it's tough, and I don't think you're never prepared for some of the things that come.
I wasn't prepared to a degree. Obviously, you buy your bits and pieces, and you get given books, and you get given advice, and you go out and buy the baby grow and the stroller because it's the top notch because you want everything. But then when they come, you get given a baby, and I don't know if you felt it, but you come out the hospital or at home and you've got a life, and you go, what do I do now? You don't sleep the first night because you check everything. If they're breathing, they're moving a lot. But Alana came into the world with such an almighty surprise very quick that I kind of didn't process it until probably about a week that I had a child, because her delivery and all of that was so quick.
Yeah.
I wasn't in a bubble. I just kind of got on with it. And then I was out, I think, the next day that she was born, going for walks. The day after that, I was doing the phone contract down Wells High Street. I didn't really stop and take it all in. I just kind of got on with life. And I had an amazing support network. I had my husband with me for 5 days, and then Joe went back to work. And then it was just me. And it was trying to work out what's best for you and her. But I was so grateful for my mum.
Did you get postnatal depression as well? So many people do, though, don't they? That hormone influx that changes, and it changes everything about being a mum.
Yeah, I was really, really lucky. There was moments that you kind of are on your own, and you look around and you go, right, okay, what do I do now? And then you've got this little thing that just relies solely on you. But I was really lucky. I had my mum.
Yeah.
And I did have my mother-in-law and everybody else, and I did have my husband. But my mum was just pretty much there. So I think for me, I just got on with life. I thought it was just easier that way than just to kind of sit and dwell really and be in a bubble. I'd rather just get on with it and enjoy it and live my life with them. I'm very much that I will do everything for her, but sometimes she has to revolve around you. You can't just evolve yourself around her. They kind of have to fit into a degree to what if you do a lot of things. And she has, and she is amazing at it.
So what about your husband? How's he coped with being a parent?
I think for Joe it was a bit of a shock. I think it was a shock for him because I didn't think that he was ever going to get married and have children. I think it was just single life or dogs, really. And then he met me and it was like, I'd like to get married and I'd like to have children. And then we found out he was having her and it was a shock moment. It was like, oh God.
Reality.
It was reality. We both talked and we both wanted them. We came around to the discussion that we'd like children. But it happened very quickly. I think it was like, got married, October the 15th we got married, and on 21st of December we found out we were having a baby. So the first year of our marriage was just mainly me being in Musgrove Hospital, being very ill, and then all of a sudden she came along. So for us it was getting our head around just getting married, having a baby, and then we decided last June we're going to move house. And we moved back to Cheddar from Wales. And so in the time frame that we did, we've done engaged, marriage, had the house, and then decide to move with a child, quite small.
All the biggest stressful things that can occur in your life.
Yeah, and he's done remarkably well. We've both had moments which are low, but we kind of built a bond where we are solid. And Joe's really good at doing things. So instead of just sitting there, not wallowing, but kind of taking it all in. He goes out cycling with his dad, or his sister sometimes goes along. He goes out for a walk. He'll take Alana to the park. Whereas me, I just like to be on my own sometimes. All I'd like is like 5 minutes to just check out. I'd like a bath and peace. When I say 5 minutes, I kind of mean an hour, not just literally 5 minutes.
Don't we all, though?
The baby at the door. He's done remarkably well.
And how's because you're an only child, aren't you?
I am.
So having another child, is that important to you or not?
I'd love another child. Not right this precise moment, but in the next
week will be fine.
Yeah, next week. In a year or two, really would love another one.
Yeah.
I just think there's something special about siblings. I'm not fussed on the sex. So if I have another girl, I'm absolutely fine with that. If I have a boy,
I'm glad you clarified that because that worried me.
Yeah, I did.
Are we talking about sex now?
No, not talking about that. No, I know that a lot of people, when they have another one, would like a boy and a girl and that. And I really don't mind. I think...
You've still got a preference.
We'd love a little boy.
Would he?
Yeah. But I just see him as a girl dad. He's such a girl dad. He's so amazing with her. And it's just, I don't know, they got a special bond, but he's... Say a lot, he got better. That's not the right way of putting it. Now she's older and she's able to do more, he's in his element with her. He is so fun with her. He sings, he dances, he reads stories, they go to the park. They're always doing something. When she was smaller, I think...
It's boring.
It's boring. And he struggled because they can't...
They don't do what we do.
No, and when you look at the animal kingdom and you see a puppy at 11 weeks and they're walking, it's kind of like a human just lying there at 11 weeks, just staring beautifully at you. It's kind of different. But he's done really well with it. He loves it. He would love another one, but not anytime soon. I'm not too worried.
You contradicted yourself because on one hand you said, I don't want one yet, and then
I know. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's probably about a year or two. But I don't like much of a gap. I couldn't go 10 years down the line and have another one. I think that's too much.
I had a 10-year gap between my eldest and my youngest. I had one in between. But it was like going back to your first child. And I remember I had a gap because I got remarried. And Dave wanted kids. And he said, there's no point in us getting married because I knew he wanted children. So it was a clear, I'm having a child because you want a child and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. It wasn't, I want to have another child. Never, ever in the equation. I'm glad I did, don't get me wrong. But it's like, it was such a shock. My body was in shock as well because I'd kind of healed from having kids-ish. And then you come along and you have this little lump that you carry around for 9 months.
Yeah.
And I vomit from conception to birth.
You and me both.
I actually was really skinny.
I wasn't that part.
Huge belly, massive belly, but couldn't keep any food down. Literally labour was horrendous. I hated every moment, but it wasn't a single pleasurable part, apart from when he actually came out, which I was quite grateful for.
Yeah.
But
it's over.
Yeah. But it is a shock when you have a big gap between children. I had a 2-year gap between the first two, James and Victoria, but I had only, and as I said, it was 8 years from Victoria to William. But it was like, your body, it does rape your body. I mean, pregnancy is not an easy thing to do, and I don't care what. Some people have it easy, and I'm really glad that they do. I'm so glad that some people have it easy, but the large proportion of women do not have an easy pregnancy.
No.
And I know now, and it's funny because as you get older, obviously things happen and sag and various other bits and pieces. Now, you know, the doctors or the gynecologist will say, well, I'm afraid it's because you had 3 kids. Thanks. You didn't warn me about this when I was going to go into pregnancy.
No one really tells you about pregnancy and about how much you physically change and how the emotions are, your hormones. Sometimes they're there and you're raging and you're crying and you're crazy. And next minute, you're absolutely fine. And then, or you're in the kitchen in the cupboards eating goodness knows what. I, like you, spent pretty much day one. I think it was like the first week to the day that she was born in and out Musgrove, being severely sick, drips, anti-sickness. Yeah. I told you on New Year's Eve because I was vomiting at your house, and I didn't want you to worry, so I told Mike very early on, and I've told a few people early on, mainly family, that I was being ill due to pregnancy. Please don't worry, it'll be fine. It didn't clear up.
No, it didn't.
No,
it carried on.
But it's the hormones. People don't realise. When I was pregnant with the boys, it was the worst. When I was pregnant with Victoria, it wasn't as bad. I was still bad, but it wasn't as bad. I was just grateful for some days when I could actually eat something. Yeah. Very rarely did anything stay in, but I could actually just eat something. With William, I couldn't smell anything. Everything smelled disgusting. And it was like, no, I couldn't go to shops because if I walked into a shop and there was a funny smell, I'd start vomiting. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like, I wasn't prepared. It was like immediate. It just happened. And it's like, this is embarrassing.
You could walk past the fridge 1 minute and it smelled fine. You open it the next, not. Yeah. It's really funny how much it changes you, and then the minute they come along,
it goes. It's literally when birth comes, and it's like,
odd.
I was still being sick while I was giving birth to all of them, but yes, literally as soon as they came out, bingo, stop.
That tea and toast, I tell you, that tea and toast,
it's
the best tea and toast in the world.
Unless they put sugar in the tea.
No, I didn't. I had Marmite on one and jam on the other.
It's crazy.
That, and then 2 minutes later, Peppa Pig, Percy Pigs from Marks and Spencer's.
Nice.
That's all I wanted. But it's remarkable. Like I've always been quite big, so pregnancy, it took a while for me to show. So near the end, I showed that I was pregnant, but the beginning part, I just looked like a pot and put a little bit of weight on, and it was scary because the doctors are on your case. You get extra scans, which is fine, fair enough.
Risk of diabetes.
Gestational diabetes, rammed down your throat, all this information and stuff. And I didn't have any of that. I was very sick, but otherwise than that, I was quite healthy through my pregnancy, which was kind of nice to hear, but they don't treat you that great because they kind of scare you with all of this thing. But I don't think it's just me and my size. I think anybody really now pregnant, you kind of get, you could have this or you could have that. Yeah.
But isn't that then just preparing you just in case? I think what's the difference between preparing somebody for the worst or do you know what I'm saying? It's a bit
shocking them with you've got this.
Yeah, building a house, isn't it? If people knew what you went through developing, what you probably wouldn't have
to get to know end result.
I think that's the same thing. I think my mum said to me years ago, if people prepared you for childbirth or being a parent and wrote a book on it, no one would have children. It's just a journey. And I think sometimes you can give someone quite a lot of information and scare them. I was scared because I felt it was my fault being big. Okay, it is my fault, but when you're pregnant, you just kind of want to everything to protect your baby, and then being told that this and this could happen to you, you do kind of go overthink situations and think a lot faster. But I'm grateful that I was told that these things could happen, but I felt quite victimised, and I probably wasn't. I was probably like everybody else, but sometimes you do just overthink.
Yeah, you say that. I remember I was living in Surbiton at the time. I was pregnant with James. And I had a little green Mini was my car at the time. That was my partner's car at the time. And they knew me. And I lived literally, the doctor's surgery was there and I lived there. And obviously I'd had my bloods done and there was a problem, but I didn't know that. So they put a note, because we didn't have mobile phones then. Now, how do you contact somebody? So they put a note on the car the doctor's surgery did saying, please contact the doctors urgently. Now, I was working at McFisheries as a checkout girl. I loved it, absolutely loved it. So I come home from work quite late. It was like 9:30, 10 o'clock because we didn't shut till late. And I get this note on the door on the car saying you need to contact the GP immediately. Well, I can't contact.
No, out of hours.
Hours. They didn't do it then, so I had to wait till the next day, and ended up in hospital. Yeah, it does frighten you. You do get those fears, but I suppose sometimes it's just about learning to manage your anxiety in a way that's. And that we do a lot of that work in the charity where we help people with their anxiety, because it's a new thing, isn't it? Being pregnant, being a wife, being a husband, all of these things are quite new. So it's like, how do you develop skills to be able to manage that kind of stuff, especially when you're vulnerable with pregnancy?
Yeah, I think my anxiety kind of raised a little bit more when I was pregnant, and I spent most of it in Musgrove, hooked up, having fluids and anti-sickness stuff. My anxiety did go a little bit higher, and then that was because I was worried for not just for me, but for like them.
Yeah.
I did feel kind of low for a little bit, just because I felt like I'm doing something wrong with being ill. And it's not, it's just your body's natural way of coping. And finding out that you're having a girl is probably double hormones as well. So it's kind of that thrown in. I kind of realised, for me, in a way, it was kind of nice that it was just me and her, because it's like just you and her time, really. You can relax. When you relax, they relax. You're getting
better. Do you think stress made it worse for you? Being pregnant made that stress and the anxiety increased your sickness?
I think for me, I was really anxious with going back into hospital, being on a drip, how my body was going to cope. But not just that, how Joe would cope. With me, again, being in hospital, he must have been seriously worried about me and little one as well. And my family, it was kind of not just me, it was everybody else as well. Because
that wider community.
Yeah, because they spent quite a lot of time in and out coming down to see me. I think the hardest for me was being in hospital over Glastonbury weekend, having my mum and dad in Glastonbury. So they couldn't be with me. And I had my mum on the phone all the time. I had Joe coming down. I had Sarah coming down with him, visiting me. But it was that really hot weekend. So I was stuck in Musgrove really poorly in a hot, humid weekend. And everybody that I kind of mainly need my mum. When you're low, sometimes you just need your mum. And my mum was at Glastonbury having the loveliest time of her life, still worried, very sick of me about how I am, but she was out sunning herself. I kind of felt a bit lost, really.
But isn't that's that transient stage, isn't it, where we go from child to adult? And even though our kids need us as parents, whatever their age, I think it's good to have a parent there, but it is that bit where you start to realise you are an adult and you are on your own. Whatever, the responsibility lays on your shoulder, doesn't it? It doesn't lay on somebody else's. It's no longer your mum's responsibility. You're no longer your mum's responsibility in that sense. You are responsible for this little person inside you, and you have to take that step. When do you let go of, well, I suppose people say the apron strings, don't they?
I don't know. I'm very fortunate. I'm really close to mum, and I'm like, she has Alana most days, and if I needed her, she'd be there. I'm very lucky that Joe's side of the family are very close to us as well, and I've got them. So sometimes I do relax.
You're spoiled.
I am very spoiled. I'm very loved, and I love it, but I do understand that sometimes
spoiled is the right word. I think, like you said, your statement, you're very loved, which is nice.
I love it. I love having an amazing mum and dad. I love having an amazing mother and father-in-law. I also have a sister-in-law. When you haven't got siblings, having that bond with her is fantastic, and the bond that she has with Alana is amazing. I'm very lucky on that front, and sometimes I do admire them and I do love having them very close. Sometimes when you realise that you're on your own and you're the adult, it can be really scary. And making decisions, big decisions, is scary. Like when you're trying to move house and you're trying to sell your house and buy a new house, and you have to be all this grown up, and there's all this jargon legally and all of that. People don't pay for that.
Well, you don't go to school and they don't teach you that, do they?
No,
it's
they
a bit
don't.
like a bank account.
Yeah.
They don't teach you how to manage a bank account.
And I think
or
sometimes
savings.
you need that life experience to grow from it. But it would have been nice to be prepped for that at school,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Growing up is scary. Sometimes I don't want to grow up, but then I realise I have to because
You're
I
32,
I
Hennasey.
know. Mentally, it's still in my 18th year.
But when do you... I suppose I'm listening to this and I'm kind of reflecting on my own life. And I'm thinking, I was pregnant at 16. Yeah, and had James at 17. So I was a very young parent. I still am a young parent compared to most parents, you know.
Yeah, so I was the same age as my mum when I had Alana and my mum had me.
How old was that? 31?
So 30 pregnant, 31 on having. So,
how old was your mum when she had you?
7, I think.
Yeah, and that was how old I was when I had Will.
My late bloomer.
I don't think you are.
I think it's the way of the world, actually.
Yeah.
It's all a bit slower. You know.
It is.
Victoria had hers about your age, I think.
Yeah.
How old's Fred? Is he Freddie 10? 9, 10? And she's 42?
Yeah, so
she was about the same age.
Yeah.
And then she went on and had 2 others.
Yeah. I think for me, I always wanted to have kids young. I wanted to get married, have kids, have this family life.
So what happened?
What's been your destiny?
It was my destiny.
I've known you since school. I've known that for such a long time.
Yeah, I think we've known each other nearly 20 years, like 13. That's very scary. I've always wanted it, and I think I didn't meet the right person until 7 years ago when I met Joe.
But how do you know it's the right person?
I don't know, I've just got a feeling. I've got a feeling he'll do. No,
I love start singing then.
No, I love him very much, and I met him 7 years ago. At the start, I did try setting up with someone I played rugby with. That didn't go very well, and I realised that I had a bit of green-eyed monster, and that actually I kind of liked him more than I let on. Yeah, it was very hard at the beginning because Joe is my director's son, so it was quite a hard start. It's not been easy, but it's been well worth it. Definitely well worth it. But everybody knows at work, obviously, and it's hard because I do work with my husband, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and my grandfather-in-law. It is a family-run company, and I do work with them. And sometimes you have to adapt and not think of them like that. They are your work colleagues. So whatever happens out of work doesn't happen in work. You just get on with the day.
Yeah.
And we all have ups and downs, don't we? We all have good mornings, bad mornings. So you just go in and kind of switch off and just get on with it. But if anything family orientated that needs to be spoken about, then that gets spoken about with the family. But that's very rare. That's normally out of work, and work is just work, really.
It is important to keep those boundaries in place.
It is.
And I'm very good at doing that.
I get on really well with my sister and I, who I work very closely with. Trained together when I was originally in the office, and she was just fresh out of school, and I was in my early teens. And then I left for a bit, and then I came back. But when I came back, I did a bit of in-house sales, and then went into the factory. This is when I came back about.
What do you actually do? Let's just get
so jack of all trades. No,
master of none.
Yeah, I originally started an agency in the factory, and then a role in the office came up as sales. So I applied for that for full time, not an agency, and I did that for a couple of years. And then I left just before COVID to go and work for B2 Architects in Wedmore.
Right.
Worked there for a bit, but because of COVID, I was furloughed. It was the uncertainty of if my role was going to be there or not. Ian said, "Do you want to come back?" And I went back. I did a bit of in-house sales for like repping, and then I was then furloughed again from the person that was my director at the time. And then I decided, instead of being furloughed, is there any chance I could just work in the factory? And I did that until last October, end of October, beginning of November. And then I've gone back in the office. There was a position that opened up because someone left. So I filled it. It was meant to be temporary, but I'm back up there full-time, well, part-time. And I've gone back kind of full route, really. And I put on orders, answer the telephone, doing queries, emails.
Do you like it?
I love talking to people.
Really? I nearly swore.
I do really enjoy it. It's people think that putting on orders on a computer, answering the telephone to people is really easy. It's not.
You end up building relationships with people,
You
don't you?
do, but then you get people asking you technical questions. Sometimes they don't listen to you, and then they ask for someone else to kind of give that value. So then you have to transfer someone over. You get really nice people on the phone that are so grateful for your help and go up and beyond on the telephone call and praise you, which is fantastic. And then you just get some very odd questions, which are very entertaining sometimes.
Come on, give us an odd question. Give us an example.
So most of our water-based varnishes, I think, actually no, all of the water-based varnishes, when fully cured, are child and food safe. I've had one question of, if I put it in my tortoise cage, will it be safe if they lick it?
And is it?
Once fully cured, yes. But
So I can lick my staircase now.
if you want, I wouldn't advise it, but no, but it's
Yeah,
child
no,
and
no,
food
no.
safe, so, you know,
And tortoise safe.
Animal
You
safe.
should be campaigning
Yeah.
to have that
Yeah.
on the label now.
I
yeah,
think you should have that as a
Little tagline.
yeah,
We are
tag-
tortoise safe.
yeah. But it's you do get some strange questions. In fact, you also get a lot of repetitive questions, which is fine because not everybody can listen to that same phone call.
No.
They don't
No.
know. So you're giving that advice. But I do like giving people advice and answering telephones, but sometimes I do struggle when there's a certain tone.
Yeah.
If it's something that I know I'm not up to scratch on because I'm still trying to relearn everything again, then I will transfer over to Beth or Ian and they will answer the question. If I'm not sure myself, then I will get the help. I do always say, I'm going to put you on hold, do you mind, and all of this, because sometimes you do get the person that doesn't want to. So if that is the case, then the best thing for them would just be to transfer them over to someone that can give them better advice.
Or whatever. Yeah.
But I try, especially if you ring not every day or once a week, I try and do have that kind of rapport with you, customer service, that you could ring up and you know who you're talking to and deal with it.
It all makes a difference, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
And I think I've done that for a fair few whiles because originally I worked in customer service and shop front at WH Smith and Morrison's back in the day. I did waitressing, obviously my first ever job was at Fort's Ice Cream Parlour in Cheddar. So I did that over the
Which
summer.
is no longer there.
No, it's so
I
sad.
know,
But
it's like-
my mum worked there
Oh,
for the
did
same
she?
family as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was lovely. And I did that. And then I did Saturday Girl at WH Smith in Wales.
Yeah.
That turned into part-time when I was at college. And then I just had careers from there. And most of it's been customer service.
Yeah.
You've always had a very strong work ethic, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've always worked.
Yeah, there's been some times when I haven't, mainly furlough, but
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Well,
but most people
or
will
9 months maternity, which was the nicest 9 months ever because you could do going
and
back
get paid.
But going back was hard. I do enjoy working. Part-time works for me now, having a kid. Because I go in, I do 3 days. I'm me for 3 days. I'm not mum, unless you get the phone call from nursery. Then you change mindset and go. But I do love working.
Which nursery does she go to?
Ocean Adventures. She's part of Tiny Travellers. Where we're
Oh, I know
located.
you are. They're just literally across the road, aren't they?
So anything happens.
I didn't realise that was a nursery as well.
So they got the play area to one side and then they got nursery. And Alana does have a lot of time in the soft play. She loves it.
Good.
So
Brilliant way
she
to get rid of
sleeps.
their
The minute
energy.
gets in the car,
Yeah.
sleeps.
Yeah.
Gets fed. They're really good. I've got an app called Family. Joe and myself, my mum and Sarah can access it. It tells you what she's done, what she's eaten, her bowel movements, if she's been changed, how much she's drunk, the lot. And then if something's the matter, they'll either ring you or message you. If there's been an accident, which I've had a
Happens
few
all the time,
reports,
yeah.
they let you know. They ring you and let you know and then upload the reports. So it's really good to connect. What's really nice with them being local, if we're out for a walk and there's someone that looks after her, they'll stop and talk to you and Alana will recognise them immediately and wave,
That's nice.
which is really nice. But she's so much more independent doing that. She gets social side of it
I
with
agree.
parents, but she also gets more interaction with children.
It's a community, isn't it? And
Yeah.
that's what's
So
really important.
And
It's a nice split that you've got, that whole, 3 days a week. The rest is just
It's
us.
really scary because some of the parents we went to school with, and now our children are going to school together, and that. So it's really weird how it's like a full circle around here. How now you're the parent, and now it's your children that are going to school together, and it's really nice. But it is quite weird at the same time that we're at that age.
Well, it's all right if you don't have the bully. If it's not the person that bullied you at school. That's always the challenge.
Yeah,
isn't it?
one of the mums was in our year at school. I never really spoke to her because I wasn't in that crowd at that time we hung out with. But now we talk because our kids are interacting, and it's really it's really nice. But so I do that. But she's also very much a theatrical, dramatic little girl. She's very expressive. Yeah. So I will be trying to sign her up for Mental Players Youth when she is old enough, and
How old has she got to be for that?
8, I think.
Oh gosh, you've got
a
few
few years.
You've just done the pantomime there, haven't you?
I have.
And what was it this year?
It was Rumpelstiltskin, and I played Bubble, which was part of the comedy duo and the hench goblins of Rumpelstiltskin.
Never heard of them.
Hubble and Bubble, and we had Toil and Trouble, which was to the youth. Right. And I performed with a friend of mine, Fliss, and we had the most fun known to man.
Do you not find, and I'm going to be controversial here, do you not find that these amateur dramatic people can, and I'm not generalising, please,
no,
God forgive me for that. That bit where they think they're like should have an Oscar, they're like pros and they're kind of high maintenance and stuff.
I'm not talking about myself. No, I'm joking. There has been a few people that do sometimes take it to the next level, and that's what I kind of like about them. The fact that they have this about them, because we all.
That's fair enough. I kind of get that.
I just read the review about me and how I did, and my colleague, my co-host, my comedy duo, and I got a fantastic review.
From who?
Noda.
Who's Noda?
Noda, I can't actually remember the full name. They are kind of critiques of the Amateur Dramatic Society, and Mental Players are one of the smallest groups in this massive thing. And we've won some awards in the past, so it's quite nice to get recognised for it. And the Somerset Dramatic Art Society, they came along and watched, and I got mentioned. Everybody got mentioned. It was an overall, but there was a few people that popped up and what they thought, and then there's an adjudicator that comes out to kind of officiate everything, that what they've said is the truth and that's right. So it's very serious.
Oh my God.
It's very nice to kind of be mentioned and pointed out,
but it's another community, isn't it, for you?
It is.
You've got the rugby club, you've got this, you've got that, whatever.
Yeah.
Bringing those communities together.
So I've always been doing drama of some sorts from a very young age, where I did stage school. I did Jane Elizabeth dance in stage school, and then I performed at the Biles Cathedral, doing part of their dramatic group, and then I did Backdrop in Cheddar, and then Mental Players. I think I started, when I was 13, so I was one of the original youth.
I've always fancied doing it in the sense of, because I can sing and stuff like that. But the thought of rehearsing every week, remembering my lines on the day, and also the commitment. I think it's a huge commitment.
It is.
And you've got to be really committed to do it.
You do. And it's not, people think it's just turning up, auditioning, getting a part, going on stage and leaving.
Yeah,
it's not. For me, being a part of Mental Players is another family member. You give in and get what you put in. So I love set building. I don't actually build the set. I kind of paint it. I do the props sometimes. The couple of weekends before the show, when I was pregnant and when Alana was little, I didn't, because I couldn't. But this year I did, and I really enjoy it because it means I get a chance to be me again and have some time away. But also, when you are in the production, you look at it, people value it because it's all hand painted.
Yeah.
It's drawn and hand painted.
Can you draw?
No.
You just paint.
I'm not amazing at painting, but you contribute. Yeah. my dad does the bar, my mum's part of the bar in front of house as well as acting. It's a bit of everything, and it's a community. And this year, the summer production, I decided to co-direct with my friend Dan a summer production, the one that we originally wanted to do. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the license for, so we're sourcing out another production, which is also quite hard to try and find something, especially with the cast that you've got, and wanting something to work and being enthusiastic about it, because the one that we were going to do, we were so excited to do and we couldn't do it. So it's trying to find that one to replace it next level. So I'm having my turn at directing again. I directed a small one-act play many moons ago in the confusion genre. Well, the confusion is a play, it's like 4 little act plays, and I did one, and I really enjoyed that. I had 3 people to work with. This is, including myself being in it, going to be 8 people. So it's a bit different, but I wanted to do something different, really. Instead of acting and singing and dancing and all of that, I kind of just wanted to kind of go down the directing world and see what they do. Because without them, it doesn't go ahead. And the same with the producer, really.
Yeah.
Production and stuff. It's a big part, and people forget that. Some people just want to be part of the show and act, and that's it. They don't want to be part of everything else. But I enjoy being
like
part of
it. So we've got rugby, summer production, thinking about having another baby, developing your next stage of motherhood, sticking with your career. Anything else we've forgotten?
Just being downright beautiful.
I love
it. I think for me, I've been in some places in the past where I haven't loved myself. I've been in some really dark places where I've gone down that road and not loved myself and not really wanting to be much around, to now fully embracing myself. I am who I am. If you don't like it, that's your problem. It's not mine. I love me. I've got people that do love me. I've got a little girl that adores me, and it doesn't matter what I do, she still smiles and loves me. So I am in the best place I've ever been, which has taken a really long time. But that's that affirmation, doesn't it? This too shall pass. You know, you might be going through a dark part in your life, but actually it does come, it can change. It doesn't always have to be dark. The dark sides do have a level they
of
do.
light. I
always suffered with physically how I look, and last August I was so lucky to be in a fashion show modelling upcycled wedding dresses for a lady called Tannis. She does Tannis transformation. She takes wedding dresses, transform them into art, and she was looking for models. It was a Facebook ad on Wales community page, and I thought, you know what, just do it. And it was the best thing I've done in such a long time. I got to do it with one of my best friends, Natalia. We had so much fun. We made so many new friends, but I found a newfound confidence. And I am beautiful. I've never really felt like that. I am. Being part of it and having people look at you and admire you for not just your confidence, but who you are, is amazing. I had 2 wedding gowns. I had one that me and Natalia did, and I had another one that my mum and her friends did. And I wore them. I was the ghost of Shepton Man at prison. And the other one, I was in this Bright Brigade. And it was amazing. I think my fondest memory is wearing the wedding gown that I looked like a ghost and parading catwalk down the middle of the main bit in Shepton Mallet prison with all these other beautiful women, all shapes and sizes in these gowns, and having random people of like the public who's paid to go around and look, come across this fashion show. That was just rehearsal. The main event was at the Bishop's Barn in Wales, where there was a proper stage. There was the guards from Shepton Mallet prison. There was people that came and watched, including my mum. It was amazing. I made so many memories that way. I was lucky because not only did I have my best friend there, but I also had other people in it that I knew. I didn't know they were going to be part of it. One of them was a friend of my godmother's, Lottie. I've only ever seen her in horse riding gear. She was wearing a beautiful gown and looked stunning in it. I was shocked. There was a lady there called Sandy and her friend, and Sandy and my mum would go back to youth. And so she was there. So I had her. And then I just met so many remarkable people through it. Natalia's made a really fun friend called Anna. She's from Ukraine. She's beautiful, such a lovely lady. There was other people.
So what were they doing it for? Was it an art exhibition?
Yeah, so Tanis does this thing where it is an exhibit. You can go and look at them. You can also, is there like an auction, so you can auction for them. You can hire them to wear them for an event.
They're fundraising money as well. Right?
Yeah. So it's she's an incredible woman, and she embraces you for who you are. She finds something in you and ignites it. Yeah. And she did it with her partner Juliet, who they've been best friends for years, and she, I think, had something to do with modelling, because she's very good at telling us to smile, and I think it was like teeth, titties and tinsel and stuff like that, and smile and just enjoy it.
Miracle, isn't it, that something like that can shift you into a different dimension. You can start believing in yourself. You can recognise that you're not the ugly person in the corner. You're beautiful, whatever.
Yeah. I felt very powerful because I was a plus size model. I was the only woman there that was considered plus size. And I rocked it. And I know it's one of those things, but I did rock it. And I felt so powerful strutting my stuff on that runway and having people admire you. And you can see it in their face that they go you, like, you've got this. I was a bit insecure because I was, my size, but it doesn't matter. No. It really doesn't matter. If you've got something in you, let that fire spark and go with it. Even if you wake up on a bad day and you want to just go out in your pajamas and you feel amazing, just do it. Because I've been quite, in the past, judgmental to people, like looking at people, and I do like judge myself a lot as well. And now I think everybody's really beautiful. Whether people think you're a 10 out of 10 or 1 out of 10, you are unique, you are you. And it's that loving yourself has taken a long time. I also have to thank RuPaul, because I watch a lot of Drag Race, and there's a lot of comments on there, and it is, if you can't love yourself, how are you going to let someone else love you? And it's the truth, really. And it's taken a while. I did feel beautiful on my wedding day, but I felt so vulnerable on my wedding day because everybody's eyes are on you. Yeah. You have to represent, it is a big pressure. But doing this modelling, I felt more beautiful because the pressure wasn't there. But you're just you. And there are some days where I don't look amazing.
But you feel
and some days getting out of bed and getting dressed is an achievement. Sometimes having children, like staying in your pajamas, is quite easy to do and close yourself off. But
I think that's a really nice point to end, because I think sometimes people forget that we can change. Yeah, and I think also that bit that it can be a random thing that can help you change, that you don't expect that outcome from that. And I think it's about asking for help, but also looking for the things that do actually help you change.
Yeah, and I think random points of gesture, walking down the street and saying to people, unless you have confidence, you are beautiful, have a good day, morning, that kind of recognition. Sometimes that can just...
My kids think I'm a nutter because I speak to everybody. Anyway, we'll call it quits. Thank you so much for coming. Absolutely brilliant.
Really good.
Yeah, really good fun. Thank you.